Welcome to my unboxing and first look at the ASUS Ares II. You can see I have an entire master carton of Ares IIs, which is 5 cards, hence the size of this enormous box on the table in front of me. Actually, I lied. We do not have a master carton of Ares IIs. Every Ares II comes in a box this big. So we're going to strip off the outer carton and we will be back in just a moment. Now, I was expecting some random foam around a box, but no, the Ares II is actually the entire size of the inside of this outer packing carton. In fact, I guess it's possible that ASUS doesn't even intend for retailers to put this shipping box on the shelf. It's probably more intended to be displayed like this, and that's just to protect the box from scuffs in transit. So let's go ahead and have a look at what ASUS has to say for themselves really briefly. The Asus II features a custom cooler with liquid dissipation and air cooling. So we'll show you this once we open it up. 13% faster than GTX 690, 130% faster than HT 7970, and we'll explain why that would be. And 1 card, 6 displays with 6 gigabytes of GDDR5 and a 3-year limited warranty on this guy. All right, let's go ahead and supports AMD Crossfire, so yes, you could actually install 2 of them for a quad GPU setup if you wanted. So that would be 12 gigs of GPU memory in your system. All right. General specs, so they are both 7970 gigahertz edition GPUs. It is a dual GPU card. They are clocked at 1050 megahertz base, so that's over 1 gigahertz base, and they boost at 1.1 gigahertz. Memory clock is 6,600 megahertz. Memory interface is 768-bit. Okay, ASUS, you don't actually get to do that. The memory interface is going to be half of that, so they're doubling it because there's 2 GPUs. But maximum digital resolution, 2560p, okay, none of this is relevant anymore. Let's go ahead and open this bad boy up. ASUS doesn't actually seal the box, so I guess that there's probably a reason for that. So let's go ahead and, okay, yet another box inside. So give us a moment. This is like one of those Russian dolls with the box inside the box. See, look, you can stack them all like this, and then we're going to find something even crazier and even more impressive inside this guy. So this looks like a very high-end sort of, casing for what might be like a really cool, gun inside. I mean, it's kind of a weapon, weapon for gaming or whatever else you want to do. It's, here's your hinges on the back. It's got feet on the bottom, so you could transport the card around outside of your system if you really wanted to. It does lock. So at the very least, this case will be reusable for you once you are finished installing the Ares II in your system. Feels like a collector's item and is packaged like a collector's item. I cannot overstate how expensive every last detail of this card is, down to things like this packing foam. Getting a custom foam like this is hand assembled. I hope you guys realize that. I know I harp on packaging a lot, but look at this. These pieces are actually glued together by hand and cut to the exact shape to match the Ares II graphics card. That is how this happens. It's not magic. There's no machine that produces these. That is the only way to produce custom foam like this, okay? So inside, you find an additional fan for the radiator. So we're going to talk more about the hybrid cooling solution soon. You find mounting screws for the radiator. Okay, so those bolt through the fan, through your case, and into the rad. We find, the numbered card telling you exactly which Ares you get. This document certifies that the limited edition is a unique work of art designed by the aluminum plate. It's individually laser carved and sequentially numbered to certify the limited edition status, making it a collector's item. And then the card itself. You know what? Yeah, here we go. So this probably looks pretty familiar, guys. Here, I'm just going to flip this bad boy up a little bit. Good, the back is protected. Okay, there we go. So we'll put it down there. So this probably looks familiar. This looks an awful lot like an Asetek LCLC with a thick 120 millimeter radiator. So as long as your case has support for a single 120 mil rad, you can install the Ares II, assuming you don't already have a radiator mounted to that point. It comes with a push-pull fan design. So looks like it is set up by default to be installed in your case this way. So as an exhaust, So you would hook up that additional fan here and plug both fans into the card directly, where it can actually be controlled using ASUS's GPU Tweak software. See right there, there's a harness that has one of the fans plugged in already, and the other fan is ready to be plugged in. And that gives you control over overclocking, fan profiles, as well as any other diagnostics you'd need to have about the card, such as the temperatures, which I can tell you right now will be surprisingly low for a dual GPU card. Okay. Inside, we also find sort of, whatever, who cares, drivers and all that you should download the latest of. Also, all the accessories that you'd expect, including a Crossfire bridge, DVI to HDMI adapter, an ASUS ROG case badge, very, very cool. Silica gel, do not eat. 3 dual 6-pin PCIe to 8-pin PCIe adapters, and we'll show you why you need that in just a moment here. And finally, the card itself, the Ares II. So these liquid cooling tubes, these 1/4-inch tubes, actually cool the GPUs. So there are two GPUs on the card. One of them is here, the other one is here. Those are both full 7970 gigahertz editions. Unlike regular dual GPU cards, they are not downclocked or undervolted in any way. They're just binned for extreme performance and lower power consumption, and they are used on this PCB. It has a unique 20-phase power design, which brings me to why there is still an 80mm cooling fan on the card itself. Because the water, see, you can't actually see into the cooler very well, but the water cools the GPUs, and this is responsible just for cooling the VRM assembly as well as the memory itself. So it is, you can actually kind of see it there. So it's vented throughout the card so that it is going to be pushing air down the channels where it's actually needed. See? So pushing air out here down to the PCB of your motherboard, out over here where it can go through wherever it needs to go, at least I think. Yeah. So out this way over here, cooling everything that it needs to on the actual PCB. So it requires 3 8-pin power connectors, which is actually not unprecedented. We've seen cards that do this before. So if you wanted to install 2 Ares II cards, you would need to make sure that you have 2 120mm mounting points in range of your GPU slots, of your PCI Express slots. You'd need to make sure you have 6 PCI Express 8-pin connectors. This is a PCIe 3.0 16X card, as you'd probably expect, in order to get the bandwidth it needs out of the slot. Up here, you find 1 Crossfire finger, so that gives you the ability to install up to 2 of these in a system, because you can have up to 4 GPU Crossfire. So there's 2 GPUs here, and then there'd be 2 on the other one, so hence the 1 Crossfire bridge. Yes, here we go. I don't want to put fingerprints on it or anything, so I'm going to be careful with it. We'll be back in a moment. So other things about this card that make it cost an absolute fortune to make, the tooling and the design, the machine work that goes into building a massive cooler like this. I mean, this plate of aluminum at the time of starting to cut into it with the machine had to be about this thick in order to get the design that ASUS was going for. You see the angles that everything is cut at? Like, you see how that mark goes in at an angle, and then on the other side, there's straight cuts, and then cuts that go in at an angle as well. That is just absolutely precision manufactured, and when you're only building 1,000 of these cards, it's not like you're going to make the money back in the volume that you're selling or anything like that. So the custom PCB, the design that actually goes into building something like this, I mean, AMD tried to build a 7970 X2, dual GPU card, and wasn't able to pull it off. So, and that would have been to sell a lot more than 1,000 units. So ASUS put all that work into it just to sell 1,000, plus again the custom PCB, the custom cooler, the custom sort of everything that goes into it. I didn't want to take the cover off the back plate because it is brushed aluminum. So what I'd really recommend that folks who buy these do is install it in your system, then take the protective cover off, because as soon as you touch that aluminum, it's going to leave fingerprints on it and it could potentially stain it. And Slick's saying something. Yeah, or use gloves to install it, making sure, of course, that they're like not staticky gloves or anything like that. So yeah, remove before use. Oh, the sheer size of this card. Let's go retrieve something else. Ah, yes, here's a 7970. So it's hard to tell without another card for, so this is already a big graphics card. There it is for comparison with an Ares II. So the Ares II is a full inch taller, a full inch longer than a single 7970, but the most impressive thing about it perhaps is the fact that it is still only a dual slot card. So you don't need 3 slots. This is the first Mars or Ares card that hasn't required 3 empty slots for case compatibility. All right, we're gonna wrap up with one more thing, and that is the I/O at the back. So ASUS says native 6 outputs, and they mean it, because you don't need any air exhaust in order to cool the card, because it's mostly liquid cooled. ASUS can have a full I/O shield with 4 DisplayPort outs and 2 dual link DVI outputs. Thank you for checking out my unboxing and first look at the Ares II from ASUS. Don't forget to subscribe to Linus Tech Tips for more unboxings, reviews, and other computer videos.